Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Minecraft modding tutorial for version 1.19. In this tutorial we're going to be covering how to do armor. So armor is pretty simple, it's basically the same as tools, but maybe a little more complex, so let's just get started with it. So obviously the first thing we're going to need to do is create our armor items. Luckily this is literally the same as tools pretty much, so we just want a public static final registry objects of armor item, and this will be example underscore helmet. We'll start with the helmet and go down to the boots is equal items dot register example underscore helmet, and then we just want a supplier of a new armor item, and this just takes in an armor material, which for now we'll put null. Then it takes in an equipment slot, so this is the helmet, so it goes in the head, and then we just want the properties, which we'll just put props, which is our method we created previously. Okay, fantastic. Now we just need to do this for the chest plate, the leggings and the boots. So let's just go through and change all of these accordingly. So example underscore chest plate, example chest plate, and for the equipment slot we want the chest. Then we have the leggings, so leggings, and for the equipment slot we want the legs. And finally we want the boots, which we can do here with boots. And for the equipment slot we want the feet. There we go. Okay, fantastic. So that is all the armors registered. Now, as the same as we did in the previous tutorial, we're going to need a tier. So as you can see here in the constructor, it looks for an armor material. So we're going to need to create one of those, similar to how we created our tool tiers down here. So first of all, let's create another subclass, public static final armor tiers. Now one thing I should mention here, it's class of course, but the other thing is I have renamed this to tool tiers. This was previously just called tiers. The reason I renamed it is because obviously we're creating armor tiers, so it just makes a little more sense to keep them separate. Now unfortunately Forge does not have a class like they do with the tool tiers, so we're going to have to create that class ourselves. Now inside of our main package I've created a new package called base, and this is just where we're going to have all of our base classes that we can extend things off of. So let's go ahead into this base package and let's create a new class. Now this is actually going to be a record. So if you don't know what records are, they are a new Java feature. I believe Java 16, maybe 17, maybe 15, not sure, but they're new anyways, so I'm sure a lot of you have not used records. Essentially what they are is just a class, but all of the fields are private, final, and have getters by default. It'll make more sense in a second. So let's call this class mod armor material. You can call it whatever you want, of course. I'll say add, yes. Okay, now this is going to need a few things. So the first thing it will need is a name, string name. It will also need a int durability. We're also going to need an int array for the amount of default protection it will have. So obviously that's the 4 slots is the int array there. Then we have int enchantability, which is just how enchantable it is. Then we have a sound event, and this is the equip sound. Now it's important that you import the correct sound event here, so that's just net.minecraft.sounds.sound event. You don't want to get the wrong one, that could cause issues. Then we want the float, we want a float, and that is the toughness. And then we want another float, which is the knockback resistance. And finally, we want a supplier of ingredient. And as before, this is just the repair material. Fantastic. So now we're going to need to create a few little things. Actually, the first thing we'll do is we need to implement a class, and that is the armor material class. You'll see that gives us an error, and that is because we are missing some methods that we need to override. So let's press implement methods here, and we'll just say all of those. Now let's rename these two to slot. Okay, fantastic. So for a lot of these, we can just return what we have. So for example, get defense for slot. We can return this dot protection and go slot dot index inside of the square brackets. Enchantment value, we can do this dot enchantability. It's meant to be a dot, not a comma. Equip sound, we can just do this dot equip sound. This dot repair, get repair ingredient, we can have this dot repair material dot get. For the name, we can have this dot name. Now one thing we're going to do for the name is we're actually going to add something to this. So we're going to go tutorial mod for your main class dot mod id plus colon plus this dot name. And the reason we're doing that is because we need to make sure this name is using our mod ID and not in the vanilla package. So after that, we can do the toughness, which is just this dot toughness, and finally the knockback resistance, which is this dot knockback resistance. Now, as you can see, I've left out this get durability for slot method, and that is because we actually need to do something a little bit different here. So we need to create a private static final int array, and we're going to call this health underscore, or we'll call it durability underscore per underscore slot is equal to a new int array. And we're going to put some values in here. I will give a brief explanation in a second. So that's 13, 15, 16, and 11. So, what on earth is this, you may be wondering? And I'm also wondering that because I'm not completely sure. However, from my understanding, this is essentially an array which has the durabilities for each slot. So, or the base durabilities. So as you can see here, we have 13. So this would be the helmet. No, this would be the boots. I mean, it's the boots, yeah. And then 15, this is the leggings. 16, this is the chest plate. And 11, this is the helmet. So essentially, from what I understand, these values represent a default base durability amount that can be multiplied onto each. So, for example, let's say we set this int durability here. Let's say we set that to 10, right? That would mean that the boots have 130 durability. It would mean that the leggings have 150. It would mean that the chest plate has 160, and obviously the helmet has 110. So it's a matter of this is just what will be multiplied to get the correct durability for each slot. Now, obviously you can change these values. So let's say for whatever reason you wanted the chest plate to have less durability than everything else. You can do that. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to leave these values in. So these are just the default vanilla values, by the way. I literally just copied these values from vanilla, but you can change them how you wish, see how it affects your armor. Maybe you'll want to put different values depending on how your armor works. I don't know, it's up to you. And obviously, if you wanted to, you could obviously pass this int array into here. In fact, you could completely remove this durability here and pass this as an int array. So you could have an int array durability, and in here you could just say durability, and then square brackets slot.index if you wanted to. However, I'm going to be using durability per slot, and I'm going to multiply that by this .durability. Just to make sure that's still an integer. And that's essentially what we want to do. I'm just going to go ahead and fix these warnings. So I'm going to annotate them with not null. That's just a weird IntelliJank feature. And yeah, that is pretty much it for our mod armor material class. From there, we can go ahead and just create the armor material. So public static final. And this will just be an armor material. I'll call this example is equal to a new mod armor material. Okay. Now I'm just going to put some random, or at least pretty much random values in here. I'm not personally going to worry about it too much. So obviously the first thing we need to put in here is the name. Then we need to go ahead and put the durability, as it says, which is not a string. So the durability, I'll just put, I don't know, 500. And then we have, what is it, the int array for the protection values. So obviously, as before, this starts with the boots, then it goes leggings, chestplate, helmet. I'm going to put something like 20, 40, 50, 10. Just trying to make sure I get those values correct. Then we have the enchantability, so I'm going to put like 300. I'm not sure on the base value for enchantability. I'm not sure exactly how it affects the enchantability. However, I'm going to put like 300. I think that's fine. Then let's give it a sound event. So we need to use the sound events class, plural. And then you've got all these different sound events that you could use. I'm going to use, I'll use diamond, but obviously you could use any of these. It's completely up to you. Or you can use your own sound, which I will talk about in a future tutorial. After that, we have the toughness, I believe. So I'm just going to give it 0 toughness. That's a complicated thing to explain. And then we have the knockback resistance. Once again, I'm going to give this 0. And then we have the ingredient. So we can actually just copy this from our tools, since we're going to want the same ingredient here as well. Fantastic. So are these not aligned, or like what's going on here? Okay, let's move them up to a new line just so we can see exactly what's happening. And this one. Okay, great. Okay, so let's move example down, durability down, move this 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 down, and move this down. There we go, that's a little bit better. It's not that much different, but it's a little bit better. Okay, so those should be our armor tiers. Now we can use these in here. So armor tiers.example. Now, something I actually didn't mention in the last tutorial is that you can use the vanilla tiers if you wish. So to do that, it would just be armor materials, plural, and you can just use a vanilla one. So, you know, gold, for example. And you can do the same with tools as well. For tools, that would be, I think it's called tiers, plural, and then whatever tier you want. We don't want to do that. We want to use our own in all of these. There we go. Let's just add this to, oh, what's this? No, I think I'm actually looking for the other issue here. Save to dictionary. There we go. Just gets rid of that little stupid spelling thing, which I might actually remove from my settings. Anyways. Right, apart from that, we now just have a few JSONs to go through. So let's go ahead and do those, as these are just very simple. They're not any different than our normal JSONs. So let's come into our lang. Let's just do that first. So item.tutorial mod .example underscore helmet. This is just example helmet. And I'll copy paste this for the chest plate, leggings, boots, and replace them. Chest plate, leggings, boots, leggings, chest plate. Fantastic. It doesn't like this either, so let's as well add that to the dictionary. Fantastic. Okay, the next thing we can just do is the item models. So we can just copy example item here and use helmet. Yes, I spelled that wrong. Of course I did. Let's refactor, rename. Helmet. Refactor. And here as well, helmet. And we just want to do that for the chest plate. Whatever. Chest plate. Then we want the leggings. And let's make that don't ask again. That's just annoying. And finally, the booties. Now I've already created all of the textures for these. I'll just show you those right now. So here they are, just in here. All of them are in there. And obviously you do need to also create the textures for the actual in model, like in-game armor. So the armor that you're wearing. So I've created these as well. You need to name these slightly different and put them in a slightly different place than you may expect. So these need to be inside textures, and then models, and then armor. And inside of there you have whatever the name of your material was. So I was putting mine as example, and then it's underscore layer. And for the layer with the helmet, chest plate, and leggings, you want to have layer 1. And for the boots, you have layer 2. Okay, that should be pretty much it. Let's run the game and let's check if it works. Voila, here we are in the game. So, yep, here is indeed our armor. Let's go ahead, let's put it on. And as you can see, it does have the correct equip sound. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We can check if it works. Also, let's... God damn it, this rain, man. It needs to stop. We can check if it works, so let's go game mode survival. Let's summon a zombo. Hit me. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. pretty good armor. Stop that. Stop. Stop. Stop burning me. Man's burning me. It's pretty fire, man. It's pretty fire. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys did find this tutorial useful. If you did, please do be sure to smash your face into that like button and subscribe. If you really enjoyed, please do be sure to share it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. We can do some recipes. Goodbye.
Sir, permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
I'm gonna go bang your mom.
Permission granted.